with sadness today to report to you that I'm incredibly disappointed in one of my all-time favorite fighters, my brother, Floyd Money Mayweather.
Are suing boxer Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his local strip club for allegedly failing to pay exotic dancers minimum wage and illegally withholding their tips.
What happens when the man who bragged about never needing to cash a $100 million check suddenly finds his fortune under siege? Can the king of cash survive when the empire he built starts to crumble under its own gold-plated weight? The headlines aren't whispering anymore, they're screaming. From million-dollar watches to federal investigations, it seems the money team might be running on fumes. Floyd Mayweather, the self-declared best ever, now faces a reckoning that no amount of footwork can dance around. This isn't just another celebrity downfall. This is the high-octane, diamond-studded implosion of boxing's biggest brand.
Hey, Floyd, that's what's wrong with you. You keep trying to, let me tell you what's wrong with Floyd. You keep trying to throw rocks and hide your hand, man, all over there on other people's page. I don't know who no motherfucking PF is. I don't know if that's one of your doubles, your stunt doubles. I don't know if that's somebody that worked for me. One of your, is that one of your false, what's that shit, the ID shit? Yeah, is that your fister? Is that your alias?
Floyd Mayweather wasn't born with a silver spoon. He grew up in a house filled with struggle, not shine. His early life was drenched in poverty, drugs, and prison visits. His mother battled substance abuse. His father bounced in and out of jail. The lights were often off, and the fridge was more storage space than a source of food. But Floyd wasn't soft. He didn't cry. He didn't beg. He trained. Boxing was survival, not a sport, not a dream. Just a way out. And he fought like it. Every jab was hunger. Every dodge was desperation. That hunger took him to the Olympics. That desperation turned into bronze, then gold, then a legacy. When he turned pro, he was Pretty Boy Floyd. Slick, smooth, all technique. But that nickname didn't bring big checks. Under top-ranked promotions, he was bringing in pennies, while the promoters raked in fortunes. It didn't sit right.
But just show you how good Floyd really is.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You know, I mean, people just, because of the fact that he's won decisions by, you know, playing it safe, people that just don't get excited about him and they recognize him with the all-time greats. He's the best ever.
Yeah,
I believe
so.
I believe
did with Canelo.
So he made a move that only legends dare. He bought out his own contract, $750,000. That was the price to bet on himself. He turned his back on guaranteed deals, stepped into the wild, and declared he didn't just want to be a boxer, he wanted to be the bank. Mayweather Promotions was born. And with it, Money Mayweather, the brash, cocky, champagne-popping persona that would flip the boxing world on its head. He wasn't just fighting opponents anymore, he was fighting the system. The gamble worked. Floyd became a marketing juggernaut. He sold out arenas not because people loved him, but because they wanted to see him lose. But he didn't. And they came back again, and again, and again. He understood something others missed. Hate sells. He became the villain, the heel, the man people paid to boo. But behind every jeer was another dollar, and he scooped them up like fallen confetti.
Absolutely was historic. It's only the champions, the great ones, have had to go to that place to dig down. And Devin, the true champion that he is, elected to go to Big Bear. We've been to Mount Charleston before, but Big Bear was a seclusion in which that we don't go down a hill.
The numbers exploded. Fights that used to make millions now made hundreds of millions. Mayweather became the highest paid athlete in the world, and he made sure everyone knew it. His lifestyle became a walking billboard for excess. Private jets, Bugattis, Rolexes encrusted in diamonds, watches that cost more than small islands. Money wasn't just his nickname, it was his message. Look at me, you can't touch this. But that kind of shine comes with shadows. It started with family. Floyd Sr., the man who taught him to punch, started punching back with words. He said their relationship went sour when the cash came in. It stopped being about boxing, started being about credit, control, and power.
In all likelihood, it would be in the boxing ring. It wouldn't be in UFC. That's not something that he would do. That's not something that the people close to him, particularly his loved ones and his business managers and others, would allow him to do. Floyd talks about this. He's been on the record talking about how the UFC wants him to do certain things. Floyd doesn't mind saying things like that because he doesn't mind reminding folks of how valuable he is, that he's Floyd Money Mayweather.
Then came 50 Cent. Their bromance was a TMZ dream until it crashed. 50 claimed Floyd became addicted to money, obsessed with image, allergic to loyalty. Money killed the friendship. Gervonta Tank Davis followed. Once Mayweather's chosen one, Tank accused Floyd of manipulation, calling it mentorship while keeping him dependent. Tank said it was all control, all crumbs, and no cake. And that's the irony. For all the millions, Mayweather's wealth seemed to come at the cost of every real relationship he had. The more he gained, the lonelier he became.
With it, but if you was my enemy, then you would feel like that. Do you feel like I'm your enemy?
I'm just asking a question.
Asking,
this ain't, we ain't no pistol contest.
Does it feel like that?
I don't, I'm asking you.
I feel like, listen, I've been knowing you for hella long, but I feel like you're a shit ass nigga.
But none of that compared to what came next. The feds started sniffing around. Whispers turned into warrants. Investigations cropped up like mushrooms after rain. And then the bombshell: seizures, cash grabs, legal entanglements, rumors of fraud, mismanagement, and $42 million vanishing into thin air. Floyd always said he didn't need banks, that he was the bank. But when the real banks start looking into your finances, that kind of swagger can get slippery. And then came the spending habits. They were always wild, but now they looked insane. Walking into Gucci with $1 million in cash, buying 17 cars in one weekend, dropping $18 million on a single watch. Flexes that once looked cool suddenly looked like cries for help. Was he always this reckless? Or did the empire just get too big to manage? Behind the scenes, lawsuits began to pile up. Former associates, old business partners, people claiming unpaid debts, ex-lovers demanding child support and alimony, real estate deals gone wrong, investment schemes that made no sense.
I believe so.
I
Look what he did with Canelo.
Yeah.
I mean, he absolutely schooled him. He could say
Shut
this,
him
that,
down.
and that.
Yeah.
But he just absolutely
Changed
schooled him.
Canelo's style.
Yeah, he did.
You look at the way
100%.
Canelo fight Daniel Jacobs. So much head movement and so elusive now.
Yeah.
And he learned.
Yeah.
You know?
The money that once seemed endless now looked like a magic trick. Smoke, mirrors, and illusion. And all this was happening as the spotlight dimmed. He hadn't fought a real opponent in years. The exhibitions started to look more like carnivals than contests. A YouTuber here, a Japanese kickboxer there, fights that were more memes than matches. He wasn't building legacy anymore. He was stalling it. Even his die-hard fans started asking questions. Is this the champ or a punchline? Meanwhile, the new generation was rising. Fighters who came to box, not flaunt. Athletes who let their gloves do the talking. Canelo, Crawford, Spence. Fighters building empires the old way, the right way. Mayweather still had the name, but the game had moved on. Then came the worst twist of all, liquidity issues. When you're rich, but everything's tied up in cars, houses, and flashy assets, it's hard to move fast. And when the bills pile up, being worth $500 million doesn't mean you have $500 million. That's when rumors started circling. Was Floyd actually broke? He denied it, laughed it off, flexed on Instagram like always. But the lawsuits didn't laugh. The feds didn't laugh. The unpaid bills didn't laugh.
Dancers also had to pay house fees to perform, usually between $100 and $200 per shift. One of the women also alleges Mayweather slapped her in the face when she asked for payment from an earlier shift.
And slowly, the brand began to erode. His credibility in the business world collapsed. People stopped taking him seriously. Financial advisors called his decisions reckless. Analysts said his empire was over-leveraged and underprotected. All flash, no foundation. The fans started disappearing too. The same people who once bought every pay-per-view now watched for free on TikTok recaps. The spectacle was gone. The mystique evaporated, and with each passing day, it became harder to ignore the obvious. Floyd Mayweather might have just lost everything. This wasn't about a bad investment. It was about a life lived so far above ground that when gravity hit, it wasn't a fall, it was a crash. He still had the belts, the perfect record, the memories. But the empire? That might be smoke now. But if Floyd Mayweather's story teaches us anything, it's that a fall from grace never happens all at once. It creeps in slowly, masked by glittering distractions and false confidence. What once seemed like the life of a man who beat the system is now unraveling into something darker, something embarrassing. The man who claimed he would never go broke is now the target of intense scrutiny, both legal and public. Every flashy purchase that once symbolized power now reads like a red flag. It's not just about what Floyd spent, it's about what he ignored.
Some of these high level boxers, and it's like they've had, you talk about somebody like Floyd, he's had his dad fight and his uncle fight before him, to where he's like refined the process so much that it's damn near perfect, you know what I mean?
For years, Mayweather operated under the illusion that he was untouchable. The courts couldn't touch him, the haters couldn't reach him, and the banks? Well, they just kept giving him more. But no one stays untouchable forever. And now it seems the system is catching up. Investigators didn't just stumble upon a few bad receipts or one questionable deal. What they uncovered hints at years of mismanagement, possible fraud, and layers of shady financial dealings buried under luxury goods and million-dollar smiles. It's not just the feds peeking into his vault. The IRS has long been rumored to keep a close eye on Mayweather's chaotic financial orbit, and when someone waves around checks worth more than some national economies without cashing them, it's bound to raise suspicions. For a man who boasted about not needing a bank, Floyd is now looking like someone who desperately needs a good accountant and maybe even a better lawyer. His enemies are no longer rivals in the ring. They're auditors, investigators, and creditors.
Without question. Number one, he's more hated than Conor McGregor. Number two, he's unblemished. Conor McGregor, we've already seen him lose to Nate Diaz, okay? So we saw that. There's no novelty in that. Number three, and more importantly, you got to remember something here. And it's amazing how people react. I don't sit up there and bring up race always as a negative. Sometimes, most times, I'm just highlighting.
And as the heat turns up, Floyd's usual confidence seems to be cracking. The man who once taunted the media with his wealth is now quiet, too quiet. Where are the Instagram videos of late-night shopping sprees? Where are the interviews where he scoffs at retirement or rubs his earnings in our faces? The silence is deafening, and in Floyd's world, silence never meant peace. It meant problems. Let's not forget the lawsuits either. They're stacking up like his once glorious stacks of cash. Business ventures that started with gold-tinted dreams are now ending in courtrooms. Former business partners are airing their grievances, claiming mismanagement, deception, and unpaid debts. Some allege he borrowed millions and never paid them back. Others say his name was used to prop up failing ventures while he turned a blind eye. One thing is clear, Mayweather may be undefeated in the ring, but in court? That record might be going up in flames. And what about his so-called empire? The brand, the image, the entire Money Mayweather machine. It's leaking oil. Endorsements are drying up. Sponsorships are hesitant. Who wants to link their name to a crumbling monument of excess, especially when that monument is under investigation and facing claims of financial foul play? Mayweather Promotions, once the model of athlete self-empowerment, is reportedly struggling. Events are being canceled. Fighters are walking away. The image that once inspired fighters to take control of their careers is now a cautionary tale. Even his most loyal fans are beginning to wonder, how could someone with so much lose everything? Was it pride, arrogance, poor judgment? Or was it all a facade from the beginning? The idea that Mayweather was smarter than the system, that he gamed boxing, gamed finance, gamed fame, now looks a lot like a house of cards built on bravado and diamond chains. And now, with one gust of legal pressure, it's toppling. But perhaps the saddest part of it all is how predictable this downfall feels. We've seen this story before. A superstar rises from nothing, conquers the world, becomes a symbol of unshakable dominance, and then falls into the same traps: overspending, isolation, betrayal, and ego. Floyd just turned that story up to 11. His rise was louder, so his fall echoes harder. His critics are having a field day. The sports media, who once walked on eggshells around him, are now gleefully dissecting every piece of bad news. The same talking heads that once called him brilliant are now labeling him reckless. And the vultures of fame, those who circle above every celebrity stumble, are descending. Floyd Mayweather, once the predator of pay-per-view, is now the prey of public scandal.
I'm saying, Mac,
You don't want to get the floor. You don't want to get the floor.
Okay, I'm gonna let you get the floor. Whether it be Mac, whether it be S-Mac, whether it be all the bad niggas, whether it be my nigga from up the way, from Oakland, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace, nigga, a lot of niggas. You know what I'm saying? So you popping it, so nigga, when I pop it, what's the problem? Because other niggas don't pop it. You know what I'm saying? You pop it 1,000 times. Nigga, you was talking about that sparring shit. Nigga, you beat niggas up in sparring. I didn't watch you beat niggas up. And
Even his legacy is at risk. For years, the number 50-0 was sacred. It meant perfection. It meant mastery. But now, it's being overshadowed by a different kind of score, one written in unpaid debts, broken relationships, and investigations. The question now isn't just about whether Floyd lost his money. It's about whether he lost his place in history. Can someone who built his empire on flash and controversy be remembered for greatness once the shine is gone? And while we're at it, what does this mean for the next generation of fighters? Many of them idolized Floyd. They mimicked his style, his bravado, his business model. But what happens when the blueprint turns into a cautionary tale? Will young athletes learn to manage their wealth better? Or will they just try to outdo Floyd's mistakes in the next era of excess?
He's executing him.
Yeah.
No desire. I mean, no business being in the ring with him. But just show you how good Floyd really is.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You know, I mean, people just, because of the fact that he's won decisions by, you know, playing it safe, people that just don't get excited about him and they recognize him with the all-time greats.
The public's relationship with Floyd has always been complicated. People loved to hate him, but they also respected his hustle. He made his haters pay, literally. But now those same haters are celebrating, and the respect, that's evaporating fast. Without the money, the cars, the jets, and the circus, what does Floyd have left? The persona that made him invincible is now the very thing that's breaking him. The flashy lifestyle that once drew millions is now seen as irresponsible. The money phone calls, the casino nights, the shopping extravaganzas, they don't hit the same when there are rumors of bankruptcy swirling. They feel more like a desperate cover-up than a flex. They feel hollow, and the silence from his camp says a lot. No press conference, no denial, no damage control. Just an eerie void where Floyd's voice used to be. A man who used to never stop talking is now completely quiet. And that silence? It speaks volumes. Even his real estate is turning into a nightmare. Homes once filled with gold furniture and velvet walls are now sitting on the market, unsold and overvalued. Rumors suggest he's trying to liquidate assets quickly, too quickly. That's never a good sign. And when your million-dollar homes turn into million-dollar liabilities, that dream mansion starts to feel more like a prison.
PB, Lil Floyd. Lil Floyd. No, ain't nothing to be played with, man. I mean, I love Floyd. That's what we used to call you, bro.
What's next for Floyd? Will he stage a comeback fight, a last-ditch exhibition to grab some cash and deflect the attention? It wouldn't be surprising. But the world may not be buying the act anymore. What once felt like showmanship now feels like desperation. Even exhibition fights with influencers and YouTubers, once a cheeky payday, are now being seen as desperate money grabs from a man running out of options. The saddest irony in all this? Floyd Mayweather, the man who taught fighters to think like moguls, is now teaching them what not to do. He turned boxing into business and made history. But now, he's becoming a cautionary footnote. So, is this the end of Floyd Mayweather? Maybe not in the literal sense, but the myth of Floyd, the unbeatable, untouchable Money Mayweather, that part? That may be finished. The invincible image is shattered. What remains is a man caught in a storm of his own making. If there's one thing Floyd Mayweather never understood, it's that the money was never the legacy. It was the illusion. And illusions don't last forever, especially when the lights go out and the cameras stop rolling. If you want to see how this saga unfolds, if you want the next chapter of boxing's most outrageous story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. Because if Mayweather falls, it's going to be loud, messy, and unforgettable, and we'll be right here to break it all down.